and putting it on the blame on the females as if they're somehow allowing themselves to be suckered
in
into
order
some sort
to
of...
change something.
Yeah, well,
In order to
whatever.
change
I'm just
something,
saying,
because they can
I
get
don't...
something done, they have just as much will as us.
The problem is the basic dynamic is the problem. The male-female relationship thing is the problem.
Look, what I'm saying is that everybody wants to be attractive to the opposites or to the same sex, whatever the case may be. But, it's one thing to do small things like, fucking shave your legs and, wear like a dress, and it's another thing to start starving yourself and, trying to be like those women in the magazine who don't look like themselves because they are photoshopped to death. They are photoshopped to look like half the size they are, and to have their skin flawless and so on. And it's not what men want. Seriously, I never in my life seen a guy who would complain about the things that women complain about. And the things that women try to get, try to buy, try to put on themselves to make themselves look good for the men who don't really give a damn about that shit. They only care to look good. That's it.
I know, but look good is the tricky word. There's not too many women that can look good without the fucking bullshit. So, that's kind of a bogus argument in my opinion. I've been with both kinds of women. One that couldn't look bad. I've been with a woman that couldn't look bad. She couldn't look bad. So she didn't need to do anything, but she couldn't look bad. Okay, but there's other women who look like shit, and so they got to do all that crap because, they don't look too fucking good unless they do that crap.
I know, Gary, but it's the same thing for men too, and it's not cultural. It is very gender-based because, the guys are attracted to young and beautiful, and the women are attracted to rich and powerful. There is as much pressure on the men as it is on the women. Every guy knows what I'm talking about. Come on. We have to free ourselves from this type of thinking that, the women are the victims of the men, because we're not the victims of the men. No, most women make victims out of themselves.
Well, I'm sorry, because they're two distinct things, because they are really apples and oranges. Men and women are apples and oranges. They want different things, so that's what complexifies the circumstance, because what women want is a lot different than what men want, ideally. If we write their perfect soap opera, they're going to be very different soap operas. So that makes it complex, and I'm just still, the basic argument is what's driving women to define themselves is this idea that, yes, they need to please a man. Is to get what they want, which is to be, women want to be, they want to be wanted. They don't even have to be in a relationship. They just like being desirable.
I know.
Being desirable is pleasing.
I'm just saying that
it's
not men's fault for this.
I didn't say it's their fault, but they're the one. But their desire is if without their desire, there's no game to play.
Well,
and women can start worrying about other things.
Like we could say the same thing backwards. Like, don't we play similar games as men? They're just like a little bit more subtle seeming, perhaps because the women aren't paying attention consciously as much, and that means we're paying more attention subconsciously. Like, what are the games that we play as men?
I'm not saying one's right and one's wrong. I'm just saying that men are, because they do have more, that part of the culture has had more dominance in the past. They have that traditional power that's, I think, being more of an influence on women than men feel controlled by women. Men are controlled by the frustration that they can't have the world they want, and it's not gonna. They can never make it happen, and that's why they just, they fuck up in relationships a lot because, they just, it's not going to conform to what they want. Most men. Well, I don't know. It gets so complicated because there's so many men that just lose all connection to their sexuality. You hear a lot of middle-aged women complain. Yeah, my husband's is complete. Yeah, I'm a dishwasher and I'm a housekeeper and I'm all this other stuff, but I'm no longer a wife. I mean, that shit does happen.
Look, my problem, we were getting back to this feminism shit, is that the women in this society are not more oppressed than men are, which is what you seem to think, and which is Nuclear Night is sure and certain of. I don't think so. I don't think that as a woman I have less opportunities than I think I actually have more opportunities than a man. I mean, I have a friend who studies at the tech school. They actually beg for women to go there. You can get a place in that university just because you're a woman. And you can do anything you want. It's not like somebody's putting chains on you. You can be anything, from a scientist to an aviator to a whore. Whatever you want to be, you can be, as long as you have, the financial resources, which is not a thing of patriarchy, because the same thing affects men. It's a thing of capitalism. But it's not that women have less opportunities, rights, privileges, and so on than men, just because, they are the one who pursue the sex more. I don't see this as oppressive.
There are liabilities, though. There are liabilities intrinsic in this system that have to do with women who end up with children, men who leave women with children, those women having lost decades or maybe multi-decades worth of active working experience, so they have less to bring to the table, they have less economic power, they're in less of a, they just don't have these same choices because somebody had to sacrifice the life to do the child rearing thing or some other thing, and then they're in a shitty position. So that I'm just saying, if we're going to add up the advantages and disadvantages, women are certainly at a disadvantage if they don't maintain their competitive advantage, if they don't maintain their skills. I mean, 3 or 4 languages, you do this, you do that, you do things that are not the common woman. The common woman drags herself through school, ignores gaining real skills, she doesn't do vocational training, she finds a husband. All right, and that's the traditional role for women, and those women are the ones that become the refuse out there,
and
because when they're divorced in 3 years with 2 fucking kids, who's going to fucking finance them? Who's going to take care of them?
Yes, but this thing that you're talking about, women trying to find their husbands and seeing this as, maybe their first option to somebody to take care of them, who is teaching this to women? Is the man? I mean, the women are the child raisers. I mean, I see this every day, women are manipulating their daughters into this. It's not like,
Look, I'm not blaming men for making women the childbearers, but obviously I had no interest in it, and I don't think the society is necessarily imposing it, but it's an easy cop-out. I mean, if I was a kid, growing up, if I knew, hey, well, if worse comes to worse, I just marry a rich girl. I mean, if I thought that was possible as a realistic probability, like, hey, I look pretty good, I can get a girl got some money, good job, good career, I could see myself being even a lazier asshole, because I know I got a backstop to fall back on. And so I'm just saying that there's certain mechanical facts in this culture, in the system even, that push women in directions and push men in directions. And it's that pushing that's negative, because it does create a lot of incapable and incompetent women who are not you. You're not the cliche average woman.
I appreciate you saying that about me.
Yeah,
Terry, but like, what can women and men equally do to kind of equalize things? Like, what should we actually do to take action?
Well, I think it's happening to some extent, because men have a lot less power now because they can't get a decent job anymore, so they don't even have any value. So women are probably growing up learning, oh, most men are a disaster. I can't rely on them. They're going to divorce me and leave me with 3 kids. And so women are becoming a lot more aware of the fact that they have to gain competent skills. They're taking their education a lot more seriously. I think in America now there's actually more women in college than men. I mean, I think that's actually a true statistic. So, get a grip on that one. I mean, men are becoming as useless as they could possibly become. I mean, we can't get jobs. We have no value. You know, women